Few months back, I started a series called Rishivakyam on Project Shivoham, where I would like to bring forward all the ancient knowledge systems, scriptures, kavyas, bhashyas, and a lot of other siddhantas written by our great Rishi lineage. The objective of this kind of documentaries on Project Shivoham is just to bring forward what were those knowledge sources, what were those scriptures in brief, so that we really understand the invaluable treasure the Rishi lineage of Bharata has left for us. In this short video, let us try to understand the contributions of Patanjali Maharshi and why there is no one like Patanjali Maharshi. Starting with the basic question, who is Patanjali? Patanjali Maharshi is an incarnation of Adisesha, and as Patanjali, he serves the manifestation of Shiva as Nataraja Swami. Patanjali is specifically revered in the Kshetram of Chidambaram in Tamil Nadu. For a complete history of Patanjali, I already made a documentary. I will leave the link in the description below if you're interested. To stick to the context of this video, I'm just going to cover the important scriptures that Patanjali Maharshi authored or Adisesha authored, which are very much intact in the knowledge corpus of Sanatana Dharma even today. Patanjali authored three important scriptures, starting with the first one, the Patanjali Tantra. It is one of the primordial scriptures of Ayurveda on health and medicine. And before I go any further into this, I want to clarify one thing. I don't have any affinities or affiliations with any spiritual organization or Ayurvedic/wellness organizations. All that I'm completely disconnected. I have nothing with any of those. My only interest is to bring forward the great knowledge written by our great rishis to each and every one of you. That's number one. Number two, do not fall into the trap of the Ayurveda and the wellness and the yoga, all this stuff, either on YouTube or the so-called wellness centers outside. It is pure commercial business. That's it. Nobody really understands the essence of Patanjali Tantra or the yoga or the Ayurveda these days. It is just big fat money. That's it, nothing else. Anyway, with that disclaimer said, let us try to understand what Patanjali authored in Patanjali Tantra. Now, what's written in Patanjali Tantra? I just tried to give, in brief, in a very crisp format, a couple of key aspects written in Patanjali Tantra. First one, the fundamental concepts of health and disease. The definition of disease, simply put, the definition of disease, that is given by Patanjali. Now, defines the health as the balance of a body, mind and spirit. Now, here there are physical as well as metaphysical aspects intertwined. Now, don't be quick to jump the gun and say that, okay, metaphysical things are more of a philosophical and fluffy stuff. I wouldn't do that unless I really dig deep into any subject. I'm not an idiot to really call something as a mythology or a fluffy philosophy and all that stuff. So we really need to understand what are the fundamental concepts of health and disease. How did Patanjali Maharshi articulated the definition of a disease? That's one. Second is preventive healthcare and lifestyle and medicine. As a dinacharya, what should be the daily routine? And Ritucharya, what should be the seasonal routine or the adaptation? And then Swastha Vritta, which is the hygiene and public health. So these are the aspects given by Patanjali in the Patanjali Tantra. As well, the therapeutic and curative treatments like Panchakarma or Rasayana or Shastra Chikitsa, the detoxification therapies and the rejuvenation therapies. All these aspects were given by Patanjali in the Patanjali Tantra. Now, picking up bits and pieces from this, people now has established their businesses in the name of him. And I'm not going to comment on that, but at least what we need to do is the bare minimum to know about the person or the divine entity who actually gave these sources. In this case, it is Patanjali. The second scripture from Patanjali is Mahabhashyam. Now, what is Mahabhashyam? It is the detailed commentary on Samskrita Vyakaranam for Panini's Ashtadhyayi. Now, who is Panini? Panini and Patanjali, these are the two ancient rishis of Bharata who are heavily misunderstood. Now, I'll not get into Panini because what you read on public domain about Panini is absolutely incorrect. Absolutely incorrect. There is a lot to explain if I get into that. So I'll not get into the Panini Ashtadhyayi aspect. But talking about the Samskrita Vyakaranam, let me give you a simple explanation that could help you visualize the importance of it. Kalyana Mandapam. If you hear these words, it's pretty clear. Okay, this is a kind of a mandapam where marriages will be performed, right? That's a pretty common name, Kalyana Mandapam, at least in the southern part of Bharat. Same way, back in the good olden times, there were Vyakarana Mandapam built in every temple. Even today, you can see these Vyakarana mandapams in certain kshetras like Srikalahasti. These were the mandapas where grammar would be taught to children. And the importance given to Vyakaranam or the grammar back in those times is top notch, because that is the building block of your entire education and hence. So Patanjali authored Mahabhashyam or commentary about Panini's Ashtadhyayi, which is still, as we speak today, in the whole world, there is no such scripture as Panini's Ashtadhyayi. So comprehensive about grammar of any language. Now, what are the contents of Mahabhashyam written by Patanjali? It talks about the systematic analysis of Vyakarana, Shabdanusamdhana, which is like the study of words and the meanings, Shabda and Ardha, Pratyaya and Dhatu, that is the rules of affixation and root formation. So basically how one word forms the baseline for creation of many other words. Let me give you an example. Return, refund, retribution, retrospective, all these words which starts with re or ra. You know why is that? All these words which talk about something backward, like rewind, starts with the word ra. That is because the words that starts with ra in English are cognate to the words which also start with ra in Sanskritam. And the base word is rina. Rina means debt, something that you have to pay back, something that associates present with the past. Now ra is the dhatu or the mula shabda that forms words like rina, to pay back, parivrita, rotate backwards. Now this quality is also present in Latin. In Latin, any word that starts with re gives a sense of backwardness or connecting present to past. That is the reason rewind, refund, retribution, retrospective, all these words start with the same re. Now these are the rules of grammar. I just gave one example. Now what Patanjali gave in Mahabhashyam is the Pratyaya and Dhatu, rules of affixation and root formations. And then Pada, Sutra, Vartika, which is like the hierarchical structure to decode Panini's Ashtadhyayi. And then Tarka, very important, logical and philosophical analysis of language. Language in Bharata is not just seen as a mere mode of communication or an instrument of communication. It is understood in much more profound manner, which goes beyond a logical explanation. So anyway, coming back, Tarka, Spota Siddhanta, theory of instantaneous perception of meaning. Purva Paksha and Siddhanta, Nama, Akhyata, Upasarga, Nipata, categorization of nouns, verbs, prefixes, particles, so on and so forth. And then Shastric learning and Vedanta tradition. Understanding Sanskritam more from colloquial or Laukika point of view as well as Vedic point of view. So it's an endless story. Mahabhashyam given by Patanjali explains in detail about the Sanskritam Vyakaranam in simple words. That's it. Third and last scripture written by Patanjali is Yoga Sutrani or Patanjali Yoga Sutras, as they are popularly called. This is the primordial source of yoga that is in practice today across the world. Patanjali classifies the human body in a very interesting format. I just tried to make this visual to make it even more simpler for you to understand. Broadly, three categories. Jnanendriyas, which are the parts of your body that gives you the ability to understand. And then Karmendriyas towards the right, which gives you the ability to act. Now, looking at Jnanendriyas, they are Srotra, ear, Tvak, skin, Chakshu, eye, Jihva, tongue, Nasika, nose. Basically your sense organs. You understand or learn anything in your life through your sense organs. And then towards the right, there are Karmendriyas. That is Vak, which is speech, Hasta, hands, Pada, feet, Upastha, genital organs, Payu, excretion. We perform any and every act through our body using Karmendriyas. Now on the left, through Jnanendriyas, we have the ability to understand, and on the right, through Karmendriyas, we have the ability to act. Now what about the most important part, which is the ability to think? That's where the human brain kicks in. Patanjali defines the human brain as something that has 4 levels. Manas, Ahankaram, Buddhi, Chitta. Now I already explained all this in very detail in the full-length documentary, so I'm not going to repeat that. But in simple words, if I have to say, Patanjali Yoga Sutras is all about how you balance this equation of ability to understand, ability to think, and ability to act. All these three encompassed in our human body. And that's all what Patanjali gave in Yoga Sutrani on how to deal with human body through yoga. How to balance this 3-variable equation. That in simple words is Yoga Sutrani of Patanjali. Now I by no means practice yoga or know about yoga. Not that because I don't want to, but somehow it just did not resonate yet with me. If you want me to meditate for 5 minutes, I'll fall under sleep under 2 minutes. So I'm not a guru to explain about enlightenment and yoga and all that fluffy stuff, which many do on YouTube, I agree. But here my intention is just to bring forward the ancient scriptures in the simplest format for all of you to understand, which is including me. I'm learning it as I make these visuals. So please don't think that I'm some sort of a yoga guru. I'm not even a student, but I wish to be someday. Now let's briefly see the contents of Yoga Sutrani written by Patanjali. As I said, it is the primordial source of yoga that is in practice in the world today. The structure and core concepts of yoga are very well elucidated in Patanjali Yoga Sutrani. And then the Ashtanga Yoga, the Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayama, Pratyahara, Dharana, Dhyana, Samadhi, the 8 states or the eightfold path of yoga, this is where it comes from. And most importantly, the asanas that we use today. In the name of yoga, people stretch hands and legs on mat and charge thousands of rupees in the name of wellness. I'm sorry to say, if we don't know Patanjali, it would be an utter disregard, because basically we are not even acknowledging the man who gave us this great knowledge, yet commercializing it. Always remember one thing, a real yoga guru never teaches yoga for money. Rule of thumb, because it's not just some sort of a commercial activity, it is the spirit of life, it is defined as the essence of life, and most importantly, it belongs to everyone and has no strings attached. Anyway, I'll just go on with that rant, I'm sorry for that, but coming back, Patanjali also explains about kaivalya or liberation or moksha and many other concepts tied to yoga. So that's in brief about the 3 most important scriptures that Patanjali gave to humanity. Patanjali Tantra for physical health, Patanjali Yoga Sutras for spiritual health, and Mahabhashyam for social health, as to how we communicate with each other. And it's a lot more than just linguistics, as I said. Now, one person or the divine entity giving 3 different scriptures that touches all the 3 most important aspects of human life. There is no single authorship or an author who has given such a vivid knowledge sources. Even Vyasa Valmiki, they authored the Itihasas and Puranas, which is highly revered, I agree. But when it comes to touching each and every corner of a human life, there is no one like Patanjali. He is the one who gave 3 most important facets, defined in the most beautiful and timeless way. And my objective with this little video is to just bring forward that yes, there was a divine entity called Patanjali who gave 3 most important scriptures which could still shape our lives better than what we have today. With all that said and done, I'll leave you there with that. And as always, thanks for watching.